Today is Rosh Chodesh. It is the first day of the month of Tammuz. And Tammuz is not necessarily a very popular month on the Jewish calendar. You know, we've just come from the month of Sivan, which is blessed and inspiring and connected to the story of the giving of the Torah. The month of Tammuz is decidedly void of any really happy occasions. In fact, it is most known for the fast of Tammuz on the 17th, which is the beginning of the 3 weeks of mourning that lead up to Tisha B'Av, a period when we commemorate tragedy in Jewish history, and specifically the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, first the first temple, later the second temple. Tammuz is the 4th month of the year. The number 4 in Torah is represented by the letter Daled. Daled comes from the root Dal. Dal means poor. This is a month that is, in a sense, spiritually poor. It doesn't have the same dynamic energy of the preceding month, and in fact it is associated with some kind of decline. In the northern hemisphere, Tammuz is the summer, the peak of summer, the summer solstice, and that indicates the power of the sun, which represents the nations of the world, as opposed to the power of the moon that represents the Jewish people. So it's not surprising that things happen during this month that were associated with bad times for the Jewish people. We're also told that the month of Tammuz gets its name, ironically, from an ancient Babylonian idol. It's strange enough that many of our months are named after Babylonian or Persian names. This is particularly strange. Why the name of an idol? Tammuz was an idol that was supposed to invoke a sense of dread and fear, as happens to many people at this time of the year. People become worried about the energy, and is this a bad energy for us as individuals? At the same time, though, Tammuz is associated with the capacity to see. It is linked to the tribe of Reuven, which is the tribe of seeing. Reuven means to see and to understand. The astrological sign for the month of Tammuz is Sartan, which we call Cancer. But Sartan also relates to the concept of visual imaging, or as we say in modern Hebrew, seret, a film. So it is a time of vision. And if you look more closely at the month of Tammuz, although on the superficial level it's such a bad time and associated with so many negative things, if one has vision, and that is the challenge of the month of Tammuz, you can see that within every one of those stories that were so negative during the month of Tammuz, there is a silver lining, and in fact, more than a silver lining, there is the possibility of greatness to follow. For example, yes, the 17th of Tammuz marks the time the Jews made the golden calf and Moshe smashed the tablets. Although, if you look at that in context, that was only chapter 1 of a story. That story ended with the Jewish people reconciling with Hashem in an even deeper way, and the direct result of that was a second set of tablets that brought with it the oral tradition, and subsequently the day of Yom Kippur, which is a day of forgiveness for us for the generations. In more modern times, there have been special events that happened during the month of Tammuz. Notably, it's during this month that the previous Rebbe of Chabad, who was a warrior against the communist regime, preserving Judaism where they tried to stamp it out, was released from prison. Now, to be released from a communist prison, particularly somebody who had the accusation of public enemy number 1, was a huge miracle, which our Rebbe saw as the first step of what would eventually lead to the destruction of the Soviet Union. So it's a month where one has to be able to see what can't necessarily be seen. It's a month where a person has to look deeper than the surface to discover the brocha, because there is brocha, and we're taught that as we get closer to the time of Moshiach, so that brocha becomes closer to the surface, easier to discern, and please God, easier to release. May this month of Tammuz be in fact a month where we take that idolatrous element, Tammuz, which is supposed to invoke dread, and we flip it and turn it into the month name, the name of a Jewish month, which shows that this is a month that has the capacity to take the worst and darkest moments and turn them into something meaningful and filled with light.